Spit bars, I stand behind mine. Yeah. Sentences I serve, maximize guidelines. My lawyer can't give me his advice when these beasts that I murder carry mandatory minimums of life. Yikes. In case you didn't get the point, we spit bars.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Maximum Sentence, where there's conviction behind the bars. I'm your man AJ Throwback. Great to be here with you after a hiatus, an unexpected hiatus from the platform. I decided I needed a mental health break, to be honest with y'all. I was going through some things personally, and I just felt like I just needed to step away. Sometimes when it comes to this whole thing of being a content creator, sometimes it gets a little bit much. I had been going through some things personally, I've been going through some things creatively, and I just really felt the need to take a break. And I've been really reminded, specifically over the past week, to stay the course at the end of the day, because it's very easy to get discouraged. It's very easy to just really feel like being a music creator is a lot. But then to do it in this era of social media where you can't just create music, you have to create content surrounding the music in order to generate your own relevancy, so to say. And the thing is, nobody's really coming to save us as creators. We have to be the ones in a lot of ways to save ourselves. So we have to do things like feed the algorithm. We have to do so many things in order to just stay afloat at the end of the day. And a lot of times it can be a bit much on top of the personal things we deal with in our lives. And I was dealing with a lot over the last 3 weeks. But like I said, with a lot of encouragement, I thank everybody who reached out to me, and I appreciate those of you who do support. I could sit here and focus on the negative, or I can accentuate the positive, and that's what I choose to do. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm back. So I'm here to talk about my latest single, the A-side to my latest single, which is Take 37. But before we go there, if this is your first time watching any of my content on my YouTube channel, please make sure that you like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that bell notification so whenever I go live, post a new video, premiere a new video, you'll be among the first to know. Now that we got that part out of the way, let's get to our huge supporters. And let me tell you, these comments span over, because I've been out for a little bit, these comments span over a couple of episodes. So let's go ahead and get to it. And then this is the first comment from a verified celebrity. First comment comes from Fat Man Scoop. For those of y'all who going back to episode 19, when I talked about the college party where Fat Man Scoop DJ'd, I tagged him in the post, and he actually responded. He said, I don't even remember, shaking my head. And I didn't honestly expect him to remember, because this is a man who has DJ'd so many parties throughout his lifetime that I don't expect him to remember some random college party in 2000. You're talking to like almost 22 years ago at this point. But just the fact that he responded to the post, I thought was pretty cool. So salute to you, Fat Man Scoop, for doing that. The next comment comes from my sis Joy. She is Joyful Connections Life Coaching on Instagram. This was in response to also from episode 19. She said something along the lines, her original comment was along the lines of, you just gotta let it flow. And then after I responded to her, she said, nothing to lose, but everything to gain. Me personally, I like to just go for it, but not without thinking about it, but making sure not to overthink it. And 9 times out of 10, it just works out. I've been singing in front of my friends when we get together on her karaoke machine, and I always hide from doing stuff like that. But I just said, why not, LOL? My son was surprised. I didn't overthink and say no. He's seeing a different mom that he's never met, and I love it. I absolutely love that comment, because even though my comment was largely about dancing, the song, of course, this is in reference to Fashionably Late. The song is a metaphor. Like, it's literal and a metaphor at the same time, and she recognized the metaphor of it and spoke to it from her experience. So I definitely appreciate that comment, my sister. Another one of my big sisters, and I'm out 71 on TikTok. She says, little bro, because I love you. And this is another comment in response to whether or not I had rhythm or not. And so, you know, it's a couple of people that's in my favor, and there's a couple of other people that I'm like, okay, you trying to tell me I ain't got no rhythm too? You know what I'm saying? But that's my big sis. I love her so much. So I definitely appreciate that comment. Next comment comes from Cold Shield 21 Music World here on YouTube. This is in response to the last episode 20 with me and Clutch. So he says, that's the beauty of music artists. We be having different styles of dressing up for different events, eras, and etc. For me, having pink Nike Hyper Dunk 2013s, just having anything pink to match with it, represents the Harlem World fashion of being the fly cats. Those retro jerseys Clutch the rapper brought up, I pull those out on a feel-good 1990s, 2000s type of day, blowing the afro out. Then there's days I dress up like anime characters, having clean button-up shirts. Man, different days for different infinite dress-up styles. And I definitely appreciate that comment for multiple reasons, but like just the beauty of variation and having those different styles, those different feels for different times, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate that comment. The next comment comes from my brother and also the winner of the last merch pack, my brand ambassador, who also has his own merch line now, my brother Marcello Bradley of What's Up With You. This is in response to episode 16 of the Maximum Sentence, in response to Chasing Maria. So he said, I loved cars as a kid too. Now I have a 2015 Subaru Legacy with the laughing, crying, laughing emojis. And then he said, so even fourth grade girls don't like too much attention. See, man, that's why you gotta do subtlety to let them know you like them, then ignore them. Hold up, you was gonna dance move your way into getting her? This is in response to the girl in the 6th grade that I was trying to impress with my dance moves. Didn't quite work, of course. And then he said, I ain't liking nobody because I'm a married man. Nice save, my guy. Nice save. Exactly. So thank you as always, my brother. One of the most consistent commenters on these shows. Then my brother Joey Bless, so he said, man bro, you got rhythm, it's just different, don't worry about it, I'm the same way, some people just don't get it. And I'm gonna rest my laurels on that, brother, you know what I'm saying? If people want to come for my rhythm, hey, I'd be like, look, I'm just different, that's it. And that's all I can tell you. You know, like, you think I got rhythm, you don't think I got rhythm. At this point, I really don't care. and that's honestly keeping it a buck, you know. But I definitely appreciate all of the comments from everybody, and I always appreciate the support and the love. And even though we are on take 37, and even though in a couple of weeks we're going to be talking about Senior Week Forever, of course a lot of these comments come from the conversations that I've created around both Chasing Maria and Fashionably Late. But no matter what songs are out, you can get all of my music in one place. BAMMLLC.net/music. Once again, that's BAMMLLC.net/music. Or if you're a Bandcamp person, you can go to my Bandcamp page, ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. Once again, ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. You can get all of my music at both spots. You know what I'm saying? So definitely appreciate the support of everybody who has purchased either single, the single that is out right now, the single that came before, the EP, the singles that came out earlier this year. Doesn't matter. All of the support, I definitely appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get into this new single, Take 37. Like I said, this is the A side. So I want to start at the spot. It's like maybe it's not at the very beginning, but I want to start at the spot where I say entrance. Lil old me swore I was doing something when I did the press record. My first rhyme about my ex who would cheat more. Let my homies hear it. That was cool. Didn't seek more. Now I ain't expect to hear the boys fire. I was 2 years removed from the boys choir. Singing Troop to those girls in the bathroom. Took me a sabbatical. The culture didn't have room. There are so many layers just in those 8 bars right there. So entrance, Lil old me swore I was doing something when I did a press record. So I had and you kind of have to rewind a little bit. So I had a cherry red boombox, and it had the function where it's like you could put a tape in, and it had a built-in mic on it. And so what I would do, a lot of times what I would do with that boombox, I would practice radio, like doing my own little radio shows, like I would practice with my brother and stuff. So then it evolved to the point of, okay, well, if I can use it for this, maybe I could use it for my rhymes. You know what I'm saying? So I had this rhyme. It's hilarious now when I think about it. I don't even remember nothing in terms of the rhyme. I just remember it being about one of my ex-girlfriends. I found out she was dating like 3 different dudes at the same time, me being one of them dudes. And so I had this song. It was basically like my first rhyme that I ever wrote was a diss record. And it was called, I just remember that it was called The Moocher, because I felt like she was always asking me for something. She was always trying to get something up off of me. You know what I mean? So I called her The Moocher. And so I let my friends hear. They was like, yo, you was going at it like all this and all that. But, they wasn't necessarily looking for no additional bars after that. Like, oh, you got some more rhymes? Like, they weren't clamoring for it. They just thought it was a cool rhyme in the moment. And then it was basically like, okay, so, what we going outside to play next? You know what I'm saying? We about to play Tecmo Super Bowl. What we about to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was on to the next. At that particular point, I said 2 years removed from the boys choir. And if you seen the cover for the single, that is literally me singing in the boys choir, Lecky Elementary School, 1990, 1991. I'm singing in the boys choir. When I tell you, I've been on stage before a bunch of times doing a whole bunch of different things. And that's another thing about this song. It kind of sort of showcases my life on stage, my life as a speaker or a vocalist to some degree. This moment probably was the scariest moment I ever had on stage because it required me to sing in front of people. And I had a solo. I'll never forget it. God Bless America. I want to say it was at Rehoboth Baptist Church on Alabama Avenue. I had to sing this solo and I'm just like, yo, like, I don't want to sing in front of people. You know what I mean? But then, like, I never forget the whole Singin Troop to those girls in the classroom. So it was one day, I think this might have been either the 8th grade or the 9th grade. We was just chilling. Like, we had a substitute teacher that day. Our normal teacher wasn't there, and we was in the classroom. We had like moments in the classroom where it was just us. Like, the teacher wasn't even in the classroom. And so, we call ourselves trying to put on a little concert for the girls in the classroom. We trying to impress them or whatever. And they had me singing lead in our little boy band, so to say. And you couldn't tell me nothing. I'm singing All I Do Is Think of You. And it's like that was my pedigree at the time. I wasn't looking at myself as a rapper. Nobody else was looking at me as a rapper at this particular point. People were used to me singing, and I don't even think people were that used to me singing, but that was my pedigree. Like, I was a huge R&B dude. Like, I wasn't even really that heavy into hip hop at this particular moment of my life. Like, R&B was life. That's all I knew. You know what I mean? Like, now granted, well, let me kind of correct that a little bit, because I gotta rewind to the lines where I say listening to Tupac, Ice Cube, Black Moon, Redman. Those, like, Pac, early Pac, I like Brenda's Got a Baby Pac. Like, I was totally with it because I was a huge fan of Brenda's Got a Baby. I want to say around this time was also like when he put out I Get Around and what's the other joint? Keep Your Head Up. Like, them joints right there. That was a huge time, like, for me, because, like, I was a fan. I'm still a Tupac fan. Tupac is in my top 10. Ice Cube. I want to say, I think I do have Ice Cube in my top 10. Like Redman, huge fan of Redman. Like, the first time I heard Time for Some Action, man, what? I mean, now granted, like, he had been on Headbangers, I want to say before that. Either he was on it before it or after, I forget the timeline or whatever. But either way, like, I was into Redman. I thought Redman was like one of the illest new rappers out at that time. And it's crazy kind of talking about it in retrospect because you're talking 93. And, like, talking about Redman as a brand new rapper. Like, and now, like, he's like a cultural icon in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? But and still don't get the respect that he's due. Black Moon. Like, come on. How many MCs must get this? who got the props, man, Black Moon, man, like I was a huge fan of their sound. But these were the guys that I was looking up to. These were the guys that I was really like, yo, like I would love to, like, maybe not necessarily rap like them, but I just really admired what they brought to the table. But I didn't really feel like my voice was meant for rap. I didn't feel like people wanted to hear what I had to rap about because I wasn't rapping like them. I wasn't rapping about the kind of material that they were rapping about. I was never hardcore. I've never been, you could never accuse me of being a hardcore rapper, ever. You know what I'm saying? You can never accuse me of being a street rapper. Like, I'm not street. I'm from Southeast DC or Ward 8, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, I came up a different kind of way. I still didn't have a certain struggle that a lot of rappers did. And so, like, I didn't really understand, like, what if I was to rap regularly, what would I rap about? Like, would I rap about girls? Would I rap about, you know what I'm saying, Legos? Would I rap about Metro buses? You know, like, what's the stuff I'm gonna rap about? That's why the line, took me a sabbatical, the culture didn't have room. Like, okay, I wrote this one rhyme about an ex-girlfriend. All right, but where's my place in the culture, in hip hop culture? Like, what type of rap would I even rap about if I were to rap regularly? So it took me a while before I wrote my next rhyme, which leads to the bars, another 10 years before the booth. But in the meantime, put my voice to good use as I pulled from my inner Mel Lindsey. Touching Mel Blanc had the school in a frenzy. So as I pulled from my inner Mel Lindsey, so like Melvin Lindsey, as in the original Quiet Storm host creator, of course, original Quiet Storm, WHUR 96.3 FM, right here. Well, I'm in Silver Spring, but my hometown of Washington, D.C., on the campus of Howard University, of course. That's where the original Quiet Storm was created and led to an entire format. Quiet Storm format, slow jam format was based around that. And like people like Melvin Lindsey, Kevin Slow Jammin' James, even up to the day, like thinking about Manzi Pullen, John Mons, people of that, cut from that particular cloth. These were the people that I was admiring the most as like somebody who wanted to get in radio. Like, my thing was slow jams. Like, I wanted to do that. Even if you think about Prince DeJour, you know, he had the continuous slow jams one on 95 on WPGC 95.5, and then it ended up being Love Talking Slow Jams. I forget who the host of that particular platform was, but you had all of these different slow jam formats at the time. And like, these were like the people that I looked up to the most, the Melvin Lindseys of the world, you know. And then you go the next bar, Touch Mel Blanc had the school in a frenzy. So that refers to, I did a talent show, Jefferson Junior High School, 1994, my 9th grade year. I'm about to leave the school. And so I did not enter what people thought I was going to do. Nobody knew what I was going to do. So I think it was my science teacher, Miss Brown. I want to say she was running the talent show. And I told her that I wanted to do comedy. And so I think when I told people that I wanted to do comedy, people didn't know what to expect. Because it's like, you doing comedy, Joe? Like, I don't even know if they expected me to sing, if they expected me to rap. Like, I don't know what they expected me to do. But when I said comedy, it just threw people off. So I got in the contest to do impersonations. That's all I did. I didn't do anything else. I just did impersonations. When I got to the principal of our school, and everybody kind of sort of like, when I like teed it up, and everybody's just kind of looked like, yo, is he about to do it? When I impersonated our principal, may she rest in power, Miss Vera White, the school went nuts. They went nuts. Even I saw her in the back, and she even had a smile. Now, mind you, I have to set this up as well. Me and Miss White I won't say we had a contentious relationship, but we didn't have the greatest relationship. Like, I wasn't necessarily her biggest fan. I didn't feel like she was my biggest fan. But in that moment, I think she had respect for me, because it takes a certain amount of chutzpah to be able to get up on stage and impersonate your school principal, and you don't feel her wrath afterwards. She like I saw a smirk on her face when I did it, and like I mean, they erupted in that auditorium. It was one of the greatest moments of my life because I was like, I got him, and that was the moment that kind of sort of set it off from there on out. Like I felt like I could do anything on stage because I never did comedy before. Any form of comedy, anything that I did on stage was spelling bee. It was singing. I might have rapped on stage before, but I don't even think I rapped on stage at that particular point. Not yet. But public speaking, like I was in Toastmasters Club. Like I did all of these things. I had never done comedy. And not only did I do it, but I won second place. Like, you know, like what's crazy, and I always tell this story. What's crazy is one of the girls that was like in the contest, she did dance and she was in a singing group. So the singing group won first place. She won third place for dancing. But what's funny, because it was, let's see. First place got $75. Second place got $50. I got second place. Third place got $25. She won third and first place, but I still won more money than her because she had to split that $75 up 4 ways. Mathematically, that's $18.75 per person. She won $25 for third place. You add that up, that's $43.75. So she still didn't make more money than me, and I won second place. You know what I mean? But it would have been better to get first place. But it's all good because I still placed. And it was some good talent there. So for me to place, I was surprised. And when I got second place, everybody, I mean, they just went wild. They went wild. Like I'm telling you, I struggled through junior high until that moment. Like after that, it was just like off to the races. And then like all of the people that like came from my school and then ended up going to high school with me, it's like it broke the ice that I was trying to break in the 7th grade and the 8th grade, and for most of 9th grade I finally broke that ice. So it felt so good in that moment. Okay, so then I say speech is the lead, yeah, I pen now. Voice of the youth, I was less Lil Mama, more Les Brown. So Voice of the Youth, that was a title of a Lil Mama. I want to say her debut album. I want to say it was Voice of the Young People. I think that's what her first album was called. So that's a reference to her, like saying I was less Lil Mama, who's a rapper, and more Les Brown, which is, you know, I mean, everybody who knows motivational speakers knows Les Brown. Like he is an absolute legend. Like we learned about him when I was in the leadership program. Like, I mean, he was like somebody that always got mentioned. His name was always thrown around at that time. Like I was more that guy. I was groomed in the school of public speaking. I was groomed in the school of, hey, you're a leader. You have to lead your generation. You have a voice and you have to use that voice in order to get across to them. And lo and behold, of course, as I described in past episodes, I ended up becoming youth mayor. Like I used that, I don't want to say gift of gab, but it kind of was a gift of gab. Like I had to be able to communicate what I wanted to accomplish as a youth mayor to my potential constituents, so to say. And it ended up working. But that's what I was used to using my voice for. Things along these lines. Then you get to the part where I say, plus the poetry would add another fresh sound. Like poetry was a huge thing for me come high school. I wrote my first poem in the 10th grade. Next thing you know, maybe like either the same year or the next year, then I'm on stage reciting my poetry. And so like this was the type of stuff that I was used to. I wasn't used to rap at all. Like it just wasn't something that I thought about doing. So then I get to the part where I say, but it was that Mario Paint on my Super NES down. In my basement, my flow was kind of basic. Biggie laid the blueprints. All I did was trace it. Parodies, Black Al Yankovic at high school. You did this on a video game? Yeah, I'm a fool. So those lines are very direct or pointed to a time when I had this game called Mario Paint. And in Mario Paint, you could actually create beats. And it was, you know, they were kind of cheesy beats, but you could actually create music. And so like this was right around the time that I was taking piano in the 11th grade. And so I get this program and I'm able to do this stuff with Mario Paint. And so like I made these songs kind of sort of taking little jabs at Biggie or whatever. Not, you know, like harmless jabs, you know, 15-year-old or 16-year-old jabs or whatever. Like, of course, you know, him being bigger, you know, it was a thing where I was saying like instead of one more chance, it was one more sandwich. You know what I mean? You know, it's juvenile. Like I would never do something like that now. It's like it's really immature. But I recorded it and people was like, yo, this joint is fire, bro. Like, yo, you's a fool. Like, but they didn't know I sat there and recreated this music on Mario Paint. But it was the beginning of me starting to get into music a little bit more. So the last stretch of bars that I'm going to focus on is where I say, was a while before they heard, here's another one. Had to get some better words and a ton of drums. On a stage, I was better a cappella. Instead of trying to recreate the Woo Roc-A-Fella, it was boom, tap as the room clap at the first sign of light that the dude rap, they would move back, didn't know that he could harness his way with words usually reserved for the Congress. So, was a while before they heard, here's another one. You're talking when I made the Mario Paint rhymes, that was like, I guess 96, 95, 96. I wouldn't be on a stage actually rapping my own rhymes until 1999. That was the first time that I ever got on stage rapping. I remember rapping this joint called Super Mac. You couldn't tell me nothing. First and foremost, like as a producer, I was basically copying all the people that I admired the most. At this time, you talking, I was copying Timbaland, Swiss Beats, and the Neptunes. Like you couldn't tell me nothing about them three dudes right there. Like I was, everything they were doing, I just thought it was great. So Super Mac was very much inspired by Super Thug, by Noriega at the time. Was kind of inspired by that, and also the Don't Let It Go to Your Head remix by Brand Nubian that the Neptunes did. So I get on stage, and here's where the line, instead of trying to recreate the Woo Roc-A-Fella, why that line is important is because this performance, I tell all of these people, I'm in the Mayor Barry's Youth Leadership Institute. I think at this point they had changed it to the Mayor's Youth Leadership Institute, if I'm not mistaken. But at any rate, like I am a program assistant. So the thing about our talent portions is that a lot of times when we do talent, we include not only the youth leaders, but us as program assistants, also the trainers, they would also get involved in the talent. So, you know, I'm still fresh out of kind of sort of being a youth leader. This is my first summer back in the program because I missed the summer before as a program assistant. I come back in 99 as a program assistant. So we're at UDC Auditorium, University District of Columbia. We're at the auditorium, and you know, I try to get all these, you know, all these kids that's like in my sector and other sectors that I'm cool with, get them involved and involve them in on it. The problem with that is that you get a whole bunch of people up on stage. They want in on the attention. And that was the problem. You had a lot of people trying to vie for the attention. Me trying to recreate these scenes that I'm seeing, these live performances when you got like 20, 30 Bammers on stage with you. And, you know, now they're able to keep it together because they're adults. But I'm bringing teenagers on stage with me, young adults on stage with me. You know, like their brains aren't fully formed. They see the limelight. They want to be the stars of the show. So it just gets out of control after a while and nobody hears me. And so what ended up happening was like, I was like, you know what, let me redeem myself real quick because y'all ain't even get to hear the rest of the song because these Bammers over here and took over and made it about them. I rapped the last verse a cappella. And I was like, you know what, this is going to be the move for me. Whenever I rap on stage in front of these folks, I'm going to do it a cappella. So then the very next year, 2000, this was the moment for me that kind of changed my life on stage as a lyricist. So Tony Reds of WPGC, I think at that time he might have been on WPGC or he might have been just starting to get in radio, but He was playing in go-go bands, and he was getting his stuff on the radio. Like whenever they had DC home jams, he had a couple of songs that he got played on the radio. So of course, rest in peace, Tony Rez. Tony Rez, like he's in the program with us. I want to say he was a trainer at the time. So he's a trainer at the time, and he know I rap or whatever. So he's like, all right, like I'll beatbox for you. And so like, he's just beating on his chest or whatever, gives me a beat. And I had this song, I can't remember not one bar from the song, called Lyrical Hollow Tips. And is, of course, like the time, like everything is like hardcore or whatever, but it was like me flipping the whole thing of bullets into lyricism, because a lot of times that's what it's about. It's like you flip what's meant to be violent into something that is like, I'm just violent with the bars. Like I'm not going to actually come out and kill you. You know what I mean? But it's like I flipped it into this thing. I shortened it down to LHT. That was the name of it. And LHT stood for Lyrical Hollow Tips. So I spit this joint. It had to have been like 64, at least 64 bars straight. Spit this joint, and the crowd just absolutely went crazy after that joint. Like I got a standing ovation, and I just felt redeemed from the year before when I felt so embarrassed that it was like, I hope he don't never get up there and do that again. But then turn around a year later, it's like, oh snap, bruh. Like, you need to rap more often. And I'll never forget, it was this one dude, I cannot remember his name, but he came up to me, and to get his respect, because I felt like, he was one of the dudes that, a lot of people thought was cool. He asked me, was it a freestyle? I was like, nah, it wasn't a freestyle. He's like, yeah, I could tell it was written. I was like, look, I don't shy away from admitting when my bars are written, because it's like, look, I wasn't of the off the top pedigree. You know what I'm saying? I never really have been. Like, I've always been a writer, but I always felt like I had a voice. And I just took this moment of me writing rhymes all this time, and I decided to be bold enough and bring it to the stage to see what the type of reaction would be. And it was more surprising than I could have ever imagined, but it's a flip of what people were used to me doing in that particular program. Because again, this is Mayor Barry's Youth Leadership Institute. People are used to Joseph Goings, the youth mayor, Joseph Goings, the public speaker, Joseph Goings, the youth leader who is the golden child in a lot of different ways, that, he's a good kid, he's respectful, he's won this scholarship to Hobart and William Smith colleges, like, he's decorated and celebrated and winning all of these awards and National Honor Society, like he's that guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not expecting him to be Joseph Goins, the rapper, and at that time I wasn't even Throwback. Like, I think my name was like Chameleon. If I ran down the rap names that I went through in my time, man, y'all would freaking laugh y'all behinds off. You know what I mean? So, but those were those days. But to be able to be redeemed and to show that I have this other side to me, it was very liberating in a lot of ways, because people now had to respect the fact that, no, I don't just sing. I don't just do spelling bees. I don't just impersonate voices. I don't just, give these great speeches, on Martin Luther King Day or whatever special occasion it might be that they need somebody young who can be eloquent to speak. Like, I don't just do that. I can do whatever I put my voice to, because my voice is important. And that's really the point of this song. But there are more bars to break down, and we're going to break those bars down next week. We're going to come back to that next week. Until then, if you don't have my latest single, Take 37, which is backed with Senior Week Forever. Like I said, we'll get into that in 2 weeks. But if you don't have my latest single, same place where you can get my latest single, you can get this t-shirt that you see right here, which is partially created between me and one of my brand ambassadors, the lovely Sierra Lene, who is really killing it right now modeling. She helped to create this t-shirt right here, which actually has a verse from Micah chapter 6, verse 8. Same place where you can get the music, you can get this merch right here, you can get this hat that you see on my head, and that is BAMM LLC. BAMMLLC.net. Once again, that is BAMMLLC.net. Get the music, get the merch. If you get the music, you can connect to your favorite streaming platform. If you're, maybe a little hesitant on buying stuff, you're more of a streaming person, that's fine. As long as you make sure that if you stream it, you listen to the songs in full, add them to a playlist. That really helps with the algorithm for us, you know what I mean? And I appreciate all of the people who have really been running them numbers up on Apple Music specifically. Y'all been really helping out, like I don't really tell my numbers like that, but I see the numbers and I appreciate the people out there that's really just trying to help, and everything helps when it comes down to it. But if you're a buyer, if you don't buy it on my website, you can always buy it on my Bandcamp page, and that is ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. Once again, that is ajthrowback.bandcamp.com. You can get Take 37 there. You can get all of my music there in both places. And please make sure that if this is your first time checking out any of my content right here on YouTube, please make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you love what you've seen today, hit that bell notification so that whenever I go live, post a new video, premiere a new video, you'll be among the first to know. And if you're not already following me on social media, please do so. I follow back as long as you are solid in your follow. You're not trying to sell me on no Bitcoin. You're not trying to show me no naked pictures. You're not trying to sell me some weed. You're not trying to sell me some bundles. You're not trying to sell me some cartoon animation nonsense. Or you're not part of some fake me out ambassadorship program that you're trying to get involved as a social influencer. Long as you ain't on any of that, I accept your friend request. And you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter at AJThrowback. And on Instagram and TikTok, you can follow me at a.j.throwback. Follow me all across the board if you're on all 4 platforms. Next week, we will continue with our conversation about Take 37. I'll be breaking down some more bars in more of the second half of the song, because it's not a song that actually has verses. It's one long spit, kind of, sort of chorus to it, but not really. I just like doing certain songs where I just get to rap. I ain't got to come up with no hardcore structure. I just get to spit bars, and this is one of those songs where I spit bars, but it's bars with a purpose. So we'll break down some more bars and kind of sort of take you a little bit more along the trajectory of my path, finding my own voice. So until then, I want y'all to please enjoy the rest of your week, enjoy your weekend, and thank you. Thank you so much for riding with me today and every day that you've ever watched The Maximum Sentence, where there's conviction behind the bars. I'm your man, AJ Throwback. Until next time, y'all be safe, enjoy yourselves, and be great. Peace.
Entrance. Lil' old me swore I was doing something when I did a press record. My first rhyme about my ex who would cheat more than my homies heard. That was cool, didn't seek more. I'm good, bro. Now I ain't expect to hear the boys fire. I was 2 years removed from the boys choir, singing troop to those girls in the classroom. Took me a sabbatical, the culture didn't have.